Hey guys, what is up? It is SSD Littleman here with GuidesForUsAll, and today we're going to be checking out Ivara. I'm going to be giving my review on her. Some people would compare her to a feminine Loki, but I believe that she is stronger in some aspects and weaker in others. We're going to be talking about all of that and more. Let's get started with her abilities. The first ability is called Quiver, and that will allow you to cycle through and shoot one of 4 tactical arrows she has in her arsenal, either the Cloak, Dash Wire, Noise, or Sleep arrow. Now, the Cloak arrow, you shoot it, and it will create a bubble around where the arrow lands. You or your teammates inside that bubble will become invisible, just as if you were using Loki's Cloak ability. And yeah, there's not much else to say about this. It's a pretty fantastic ability, especially for a 1. It's great. You can also shoot it and stick it onto your teammate. It'll create a bubble around them, and they will be permanently invisible because the bubble will surround them. They're basically turning your teammates into Loki, which is pretty sweet. Now, the dash wire arrow is not as useful as the first. It creates a wire that you can jump onto and run up in certain locations and, you know, snipe people with your bow. It's snazzy, it's pretty cool, and it makes for some awesome style point shots, but all around I don't think it's super useful. The third arrow is the noise arrow, and it does exactly what you think it is. You shoot the arrow at a certain location and it will make noises, attracting your enemies. Even if they are currently in combat with you, they will be distracted to the noise of the arrow, turn around and start walking towards it, which is pretty nice. The fourth arrow is the sleep arrow, and arguably the best one. You shoot it on the ground, and depending on your range, it will put enemies to sleep around where the arrow is for however long seconds, which is pretty great. It starts at 6 meters, the range, but of course you can increase that, and they will be sleeping for 10 seconds defaultly at rank 30. So that's pretty great. You can put enemies to sleep, and you don't have to hit the enemies directly with the arrow. Like I said, it has a 6-meter sleeping radius, so what you actually would want to do is shoot the ground near the enemies, and you can put tons of enemies to sleep at once, especially if you have mods to increase the range. So this ability is really great for a 1 ability. Most Warframe's 1 abilities aren't super useful, but Quiver definitely changes that trend. Now, the second ability is called Navigator, which will allow you to assume control of a projectile and guard it or guide it to the target. Now, when it says projectile, it means any weapon that has travel time, basically. Bows, launchers, throwing knives, bolt firing weapons, and throwing melee weapons such as the glaive that you can throw at enemies. All these weapons you can control by first using the ability by pressing 2 and then throwing or shooting the weapon. You'll then assume control of it. You can left click to make it go faster, and you can right click to make it go slower. This is great if you have punch through mods on the weapon, because you can just go through as many enemies as you want. And when you're doing this, Ivara will go invisible, so it's really nice. You won't be killed while you're using Navigator. And this also gives a damage multiplier to whatever you're using. So if you're using a bow, defaultly it will have a 5 times damage multiplier. I have a build where I increase the strength power, and I believe it can get up to 8 or 10 times damage. So it's absolutely insane. This is another ability that sounds pretty average and kind of gimmicky on paper, but in practice it is absolutely amazing. Now, it does drain your power per second. It's 1 per second, I believe, or 3 per second. No, it's 3 per second. And then, of course, if you have less power efficiency, it'll drain more. More power efficiency, it will drain less. Now, the third ability, and this is why people would compare her to Loki, is called Prowl. This will allow you to become invisible and steal loot from enemies you sneak up on, or, of course, you could take them out with a deadly headshot. Similarly to her second ability, this just has energy drain per second. Unlike Loki's invisibility ability, it's not just a one-time cost for a certain amount of time. You can stay invisible indefinitely with this, but there is a catch. If you make any sort of noise, you will be rendered visible again. That means running, that means shooting a weapon that's not silenced. So you really do have to be careful with this, but this ability works fantastically with bows, because you can just walk around and shoot enemies in the head with bows. And that is great. Like I said, anything that makes noise will reveal you, but you still can roll and jump. So, you know, you're not completely rendered useless from movement. Now, it does have some other effects. First off, like I said, you can steal things from enemies, and depending on your duration mods, this will take more or less time to steal at max rank. It'll take 2.5 seconds to steal stuff from them, and it will give a 1.4x multiplier to your headshots, which is also super awesome. Now, like I said, if you increase the strength on this weapon, that will increase the headshot multiplier even higher. So, yeah, do with that what you will, but this makes bows even more powerful on Ivara, and that is why she is kind of a huntress. And they really make that loud and pronounced with Ivara. They really want you to use the bows on her. And speaking of bows, we're going to slide into her 4th ability, which is called Artemis Bow. This ability is really fantastic, and I like it a lot because you don't even need to have Ivara modded out specifically for Artemis Bow for it to be pretty powerful. Now what this does is it summons a mighty bow, the Artemis Bow, and you will be able to unleash a volley of arrows. Now, you activate this ability, it costs 35 energy, and then every shot you make afterwards will cost 15 energy. Now the cool thing about this ability is that since it doesn't drain energy while it's active, Energy Siphon will still work while you have Artemis Bow on. So you will still be collecting energy from your Energy Siphon, allowing you to just kind of walk through the level and use Artemis Bow casually, which is really, really cool in my opinion. I absolutely love this ability. When you have max rank on your Warframe, you will shoot 7 arrows that fan out, and depending on if you hold down the fire button or shoot it normally, they will shoot horizontally and vertically. If you do not hold down the button, it will shoot the arrows vertically. If you hold it all the way down, it will make them horizontal. Of course, anywhere in between will slant it more or less towards each side, but I think this is amazing. Now, I believe each arrow has a 20 to 35% chance to critical, and it has a 2x critical multiplier. This is kind of speculation. I've just read this in a few places. I'm not absolutely sure about that, so don't quote me on this. And the arrows defaultly have a strength of 160. Strength mods will increase the damage that you do with these, and it allows it to scale a little bit more into endgame, which is pretty nice. But I believe defaultly this bow has a lot of power, and you really don't need to mod it out for strength unless you're doing exceptionally high level missions. There's not enough good that I can say about the Artemis Bow ability, and the great thing about Ivara is all of her abilities really do play into each other. You can use Prowl and Artemis Bow at the same time to sneak around the mission, get that headshot multiplier on your Artemis Bow shots, take out multiple enemies at once with the fanning attacks, and of course, get the stealth kill bonus experience, which is what I actually used to level Ivara up. I went to I can't remember, whatever the highest level Grenier planet is, did an exterminate mission, and every time you play through that, if you stealth kill every enemy, you gain like 10 to 15 levels. It's absolutely insane. So she is great and easy to level up. Now, she also has an innate 30-meter enemy radar on herself, just like I said, the mod enemy radar, enemy sense, and animal instinct. You can actually stack those mods with her ability. So it's 30 meters default with Ivara. You can see enemies on the minimap, which is awesome. Like I said, it really plays into her being a huntress Warframe. And if it stacks with enemy radar, enemy sense, you can have a huge map telling you where all the enemies are on the map. Now, let's talk about my mod builds. I would first and foremost like to say that I'm not super good at modding out Warframes, so you know, don't come up to me and expect me to give you the best mods. I would recommend going and checking out Mogamu's videos. He's a lot better at modding stuff out. Now, I have a strength build that you would use to increase the headshot damage of Prowl, the damage of Artemis Bow, and the damage of Navigator when you're using your arrows. That'll increase the damage multiplier. So, you want to use Intensify and Blind Rage, obviously, to increase your power strength, to do more damage. I don't have Blind Rage maxed out, so it's not perfectly efficient, but I also use Streamline and Fleeting Expertise so that the power efficiency is not too bad either. The lower power duration is not a big deal because with this build you're not going to be using your Quiver ability to shoot your arrows. You're just going to be using Prowl and then Artemis Bow, also coupled with maybe the Navigator. Now, I also throw on Flow because I feel like Ivara doesn't have enough power defaultly. So with Flow, I had like 375 power, and I don't even have Flow maxed out, but you should probably also throw Primed Flow on there. It'll just make it even better. And then I throw on Redirection and Vitality because I really wasn't sure what other mods to put on. Like I said, Mogamu's a lot better at modding these Warframes out than I am. Moving on, I have a Stealth Efficiency build. I still think that the first build might be a little bit better, but this one also works very good. As long as you're not playing a super high-leveled mission, this build will also suit you very well. You will never run out of energy. Now, I used Continuity to increase power duration for, you know, your first ability, Quiver. And then I used Flow to increase the amount of energy you can hold, Streamline and Fleeting Expertise, obviously to increase power efficiency, Vitality, Redirection, just have something to throw on there, Intensity to increase the power strength a little bit, and then I threw on Narrow-Minded to increase the power duration even more. Now the problem with that is, of course, that the range on your arrows and stuff will not be that great. so you won't have a massive bubble, and you will not have a massive radius to put your enemies to sleep, but you will never run out of energy. Although I do still strongly suggest the strength build over this one, as Ivara is really more suited towards big damage, especially with the Navigator ability, increasing your damage tenfold. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about Ivara. She is a fantastic Warframe. Her Prowl is not as good as Loki's invisibility power because she doesn't stay invisible indefinitely. If you do make her invisible, you make any noise, you're not invisible anymore. So that is one downside, although I would say that Ivara's Prowl is more fun to use than Loki's invisibility. It really does feel like you're sneaking around more, whereas with Loki, you kind of gotta hide every 20 seconds to turn his power back on. That's really all I could say. She's a fantastic Warframe. I definitely recommend picking her up, even though she is quite annoying to get with the Nitane extract and the spy missions. I had to run probably 60 or 70 spy missions just to get all of her parts. But of course, some people, one run for each part. It's just an easy life, easy money, easy Warframe. So thanks for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed, please leave a like rating down below and subscribe to see some more videos in the future. Let me know what you think about Ivara. Let me know if you disagree with any of my opinions, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.